Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I actually went out and I bought myself a brand new OEM Honda key. Obviously these are discontinued from Honda, they don't no longer sell it, and wherever you actually buy it, it's just people that have bought stock and have held it and they're reselling it. Like eBay, people are actually shipping these to Canada, sold for about 30 bucks Canadian, all converted and everything. So it's pretty expensive, which is why I was actually thinking, oh, should I get an OEM key or should I just go to a hardware store and get whatever? I just needed a spare key because my car originally only came with one key. The previous owner must have lost the key or something, so he only gave me one key. And obviously I was worried that if I lost that key, I would have no way of starting my car or getting into my car. So after, just digging around the internet a while, I mean, there was really no urgency. Today I actually found somebody selling an OEM blank key for 10 bucks Canadian. And I decided, okay, well, let's get it. And I'll just go to like a Home Depot or any hardware store and have them cut it. I read online, people were suggesting go to Rona. So I went to Rona, had it cut. Obviously, they weren't the best of service. The guy was actually saying, oh, I can't do this. Okay, we'll try it anyways. Stuff like that. Like it really kind of gave me some question marks in my head because I don't know if he was, able to even cut it. So he attempted it anyways to cut it, and he charged me for whatever it costs for buying a key from them. So it was basically he charged me the price of a double-sided key. I actually tried it on the car. It does open all the door lock cylinders and the ignition cylinder, everything fine, but you have to wiggle it around. So obviously it's not perfect like the original one. The original one goes in smooth, you can turn it no problem. This newly cut one is actually a little finicky, but it does open the door and does open the hatch, does, fire up the car and all that kind of stuff. So I guess it's fine as a spare. I'll still use the original one because it goes in a lot smoother. But if you guys have any ideas how to clean it up and make it go in smoother, you let me know. Maybe just wire brush it a little bit. I don't know. But there's really no urgency on it. But it's kind of cool. I got a new OEM key. It's the new OEM one is actually a little bit longer than the original. If you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but let's bring it up close. But yeah, it's slightly longer, but works the same. It just still goes in and all that stuff. So yeah, new OEM key. But today we're actually going to be working on a Integra console. I have another Integra console that I bought and cleaned it all up already. This is outside of the one that's already in the car. I bought this one as a spare just in case because the one that I put in, the original owner had a lot of like switches and all that kind of stuff put into it. So I kind of wanted to get rid of all those cut up plastic and everything. So I bought another one, swapped a whole bunch of stuff over, like the little holders, the clip holders for the switches and all that kind of stuff. So I swapped it all over, so now it looks a little bit more clean. Obviously there was a whole bunch of drills, marks, and all that kind of stuff all over it. So the one that's in the car isn't perfect, but neither is the one that I purchased. So the one that I purchased, I was actually hoping that the shift boot would be good. So I bought it from some guy locally. He was actually parting out his Integra. And when I got there, the shift boot was like, had burn holes and all that kind of stuff in it. And, it was filthy, but it cost I think 15 bucks Canadian. So for the whole console with the armrest and everything. So that's pretty cheap. So it's okay for having a spare part anyways. I mean, you never know when you're going to need it. So I ended up getting it. So today what I'm actually going to do is, since there is some burn marks and everything on the shift plate itself, the shift boot plate, I'm actually going to do some carbon fiber wrap on it. So I have some pieces of spare carbon fiber wrap that I got from my brother, and he gave it to me. He's like, yeah, I don't need it. So I'm going to see if I can take that wrap and wrap this console plate on it. So kind of replicating the Integra Type R console plate. But I'll show you guys how it looks and, the process of wrapping it. Alright guys, so here is the Integra console. So as you can see here, there's quite a bit of holes here and over here from the burn marks. As well as this little ring here on the shift boot is actually broken. It's snapped into half. So this boot is kind of useless. I was hoping that I could use this boot because the original Civic one is not that big. So when you're shifting, it actually slips down and it's really tight on the bottom because it just doesn't have that much wiggle room to move around. But what we're gonna have to do is take this plate here off and wrap it with that carbon fiber wrap over there. These are spare pieces, so we're gonna have to heat it up, and as it glues on, the creases should come out. So first things first, we're just gonna flip this over. So this is the spare console. The one that's in the car is still in the car. So we're gonna take it off by these 4 screws. So these 2 screws, and you could pop the whole plate off, and then these 2 will take off the shift boot. All right, there you go, the shift boot's out. And this plate just pops off because there's a couple clips just holding it in place now. There we go, the plate's out. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of wear on it. You could see it like as it reflects, there's like the whole cup marks, little bird marks here and there. So hopefully this carbon fiber wrap actually cleans this all up. So obviously I think it's just enough carbon fiber wrap. So I'm gonna have to be real careful of how I wrap this. So as you can see, it just barely enough. So I'm just gonna maybe cut some of it and start heating it up and sticking it on. So since the wall is quite far, what I did was I just moved closer to the wall so that I could film and use my heat gun. So this piece is no good. So as you can see, it's just barely enough. So I'm going to start off by peeling some of this and sticking it on, and then start working it around. So this material, since this is a vinyl, it is a little bit stretchable. So I'm just gonna cut off some of this excess. Oh, well, first things first, actually, with this plate out, since it might be a little bit oily, I did clean it once, but then I did try to restore the color with some trim oil. So what you would want to do is clean all that grease off of it, because with the grease in there, it's not going to stick very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go upstairs and get some rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to wipe it all down with some rubbing alcohol. All right, so some isopropyl alcohol. So the reason why I use some isopropyl rubbing alcohol is because it evaporates quick and it usually takes any of that grease off. As you can see, it's a little bit darker color now, so it's taking off a whole bunch of grease from the plastic. So you want to make sure all the edges and everything are kind of clean, because that's where it's kind of going to latch onto. All right, so it looks pretty clean now. So just wait for a little bit for it to dry. There you go. All right, so it's dry. So let's peel and stick. All right, so that's what it looks like. Looks pretty good, very clean. Obviously there's gonna be some blemishes, like here was where like a smoke burn was, I believe. So it's not gonna be perfect, but it covers up most of the stuff pretty well. And it looks a lot better than it was before. So let's just have a look how it looks like in console. Just like that. That looks pretty dope. Looks really good. Once everything's kind of screwed in, a lot of the tape will be held in anyways. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I left a little bit of room all around the corners just so that it sticks a little bit better. But yeah, it looks really good. I like it. I'm gonna swap this basically over to the console inside the car and see how it looks like. So this is the console fully installed. It looks really good. I mean, you can barely see the blemishes. You can see the blemishes here. That's actually underneath in the plastic where the cigarette burn marks are. But for the most part, this piece looks good. And keep in mind, this was the piece that I was using from the other console. So it's the spare console. I took the one that was in here out. The one that was actually in here had like a couple drill marks in here, which I didn't like. But then this piece had all these stain marks all over and some burn marks. So both pieces were not perfect. Obviously, the one with the drill marks had less staining and all that. It actually looked okay. Like you could barely see the little drill marks when it was in the car, so it was hidden. But it still bothered me. But this piece is perfect. I mean, aside from a couple little blemishes here. But now that it's wrapped, it looks so good. Like honestly, it looks like the Integra Type R one. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.